Tonight, in this edition of the 6 p.m. primetime newscast on Equinoxe television, soldiers try to take over power in Gabon in the absence of Ali Bongo Ondimba. But the government of the oil-rich country has said that the situation is now under control after those who were in charge or masterminded the coup that took place in the early hours of this morning were arrested few hours later. Also in this newscast, we talk about members of Cameroonian government that were finally installed into their functions today in the nation's capital, Yaoundé, plus back to school across the national territory, but boycotted somehow in the two Anglophone regions of the country as the ghost town was the order of the day. We take you to Limbe and Boya in this newscast. We shall be right back. Good evening to you, ladies and gentlemen. We welcome you back from the weekend. You're watching the 6 p.m. primetime newscast on Equinoxe television. Let's begin right here in the nation's capital, Yaoundé, to talk about new members of government following the partial cabinet reshuffle that took place last week in the nation's capital, Yaoundé. The various ministers, delegates at the ministerial departments, as well as secretary or the various ministers that were appointed by the President of the Republic of Cameroon were installed into their functions today after that of the Prime Minister Head of Government, Joseph Diongute. He was the one presiding over the various installation ceremonies that took place in different ministerial departments in the nation's capital, Yaoundé. Today, we have a report from Armstrong Sander that takes us to some of the ceremonial grounds in the following story.
The installation ceremony was chaired by the newly appointed Prime Minister, Chief Dr. Joseph Diongute, who officially took over from Philemon Yang earlier Monday, January 7. The first to be installed was Jacques Famendongo as Minister of State, Minister of Higher Education. Then followed the installation ceremony at Minkav. To other ministries where family members, staff and the newly appointed members of government anxiously waited in styles and colors. After her installation, the new Minister of Housing and Urban Development, Celestine Kecha-Kutes, could not hold her feelings.
I'm very proud and really very surprised for these joys that the President Paul Biya have brought to population of our 10 region.
Former opposition leader, now minister delegate in the Ministry of Justice, called on opposition leaders to join him and President Paul Biya for a better Cameroon.
I feel very happy and honored to serve my country, and I can see that as Mr. President appointed me as a minister delegate at the Justice. This is a great message to our people that we have to do what I was doing. You have to follow me. You follow me, you follow the President of the Republic to build this country. This is clear. We cannot follow those people who just want to destroy our country. We have to follow people like me, a lot of people who are with me, who has run away thinking that I have taken the wrong way, has to know that this is a regime of the state of Cameroon.
He also stated that the current regime cannot be changed even in 200 years to come.
This is the regime of the Cameroon from the beginning, from 1960, and we will not change even in 200 years. So people who expected that we have to change this regime, they have to join us and build the Cameroon.
Participants and family members who graced the event also expressed their joy and gratitude to the head of state for the new members of government, while expressing the desire for a better Cameroon through them. The Prime Minister, Chief Dr. Joseph Diongute, while installing the new members of government, challenged them to show exemplary service to the nation, especially at a time when the country is going through economic and socio-political challenges.
And to Barrister Jean de Dieu Momo, showing an example to the nation, is rallying behind the President of the Republic of Cameroon. He has called on all to join him rally behind the head of state who appointed him so that together and in unity, better country can be built. He was speaking today in Yaoundé as he was being installed as Minister Delegate at the Ministry of Defense, that justice rather, in the nation's capital, Yaoundé. The ceremony, as we saw in the following report, was chaired by the Prime Minister, head of government, Joseph John Gute. We now talk about back to school across the national territory. After spending the Christmas break in Cameroon, students and pupils were back to school this Monday, the 7th of January 2019. It was a hitch-free kickoff of the second term of the 2018-2019 school year here in the economic capital, Douala. Immaculée Fogwe has the details in the following report.
The festive break is over, and once again, students and pupils in Cameroon, particularly in the economic capital, have turned out in their numbers for the second term of the 2018-2019 school year. At Lycée d'Aqua, teachers and students are seen in their various classrooms as early as 7 a.m. to dish out lessons to students. Mr. Bambo Emmanuel, the vice principal of Lycée d'Aqua, says that the kick was effective and hitch-free. He added that various strategies have been put in place to complete the syllabus of the school year.
As you see, classes have already resumed at Lycée d'Aqua. As I told you, all the teachers are there. Okay, and we think it worked in the first term, and we think in the second term it also worked. The first term was really long, and since we have classes here every Saturday, apart from classes that we have from Monday to Friday, also on Saturday, we have classes here, particularly for classes that prepare for an exam. But for the other classes, every morning at 7 o'clock, they are supposed to be there for 30 minutes. They have to revise.
Some of the students, like Tusa Pasi, says she is striving for academic excellence during the term.
Work hard, to work more than before, to be maybe the best, because it is important when you are the best in class, you can be the best through your exam. So I will work more than before in the subject where I was not good at the first term of the years. I will work hard and I will limit the...
It is hoped that the different strategies put in place will definitely help to enhance the smooth performance by students.
And the students and pupils have been reminded that the time to obtain a promotion to the next level as far as the institution or the academic levels are concerned is exactly now. School officials in Suza, in the Mongo division of Cameroon, have instructed students to be more disciplined during the second term of the school year that has just begun, or the school term that just began today. They encourage students to work extremely hard this second term to obtain better results. Details with Innocent Aze.
They have feasted, and it is now time for studies. Early Monday, students and pupils in Suza, in the Mongo division of the littoral region, colored the streets as they used various transportation means to return to school for the second term of the academic year after a 2-week break. While in their various educational establishments, like at Government Bilingual High School, Grand Suza, administrators on the assembly ground re-echoed with megaphones the need to uphold discipline. While in their various classrooms, the students, especially those who reaped poor performances during the first term, were urged to double efforts this second term to catch up, for it is a decisive term, noting that the third term is the shortest.
Make sure what you lost in first term is recovered. You have to now take the bull by the horns. You have to be ready to burn the candles and see into it that everything is perfectly done. I say perfectly done, because second term is just the last term. I can even say, as far as pedagogic activities are concerned, third term is just as scanty as anything. There is actually nothing in third term.
Abstaining from bad companions and studying hard, school authorities advise, will bear juicy fruits.
If your friend passes and you fail, they will not say you two have passed because you are a friend to that person. No, you have failed.
Students in examination classes were most cautioned. They were advised to exploit the second term to revise their first term works as well as the second.
The message that we had this morning for the students for the first day of back to school for the second term is the message of encouragement. Encouragement those who never made good results during first term to see how they can come back to themselves to make sure that this time around if they work well, because the only secret is working.
To a pre-candidate, she will adhere and leave no stone unturned this second term.
I had a very bad result because I did not work during the first sequence and the second sequence. That made me a very bad result during the first term. But I promised to work hard during this term to pass my pre-mock and my mock during this term. I promised to work hard because I'm in the examination class. I want to have my GCE this year. So I promised to read my books and to work very hard to pass this second term.
They were as well reminded the third term is usually grounded by public holidays and national celebrations.
And the town of Limbe was calm but deserted. Of course, the back to school took place. That was on the Ghost Town Day this Monday, the 7th of January 2019. We share in the following report that this scenario has been going on for 3 years. At the time when classes are resuming hitch-free in other regions of Cameroon, the gates and doors of public and private schools in Limbe Southwest region of the country are closed. It is a similar scenario coupled with empty streets in major towns and cities in Anglophone Cameroon. School premises visited Monday were deserted. This as back to school for the second term of the academic year 2018-2019 fell on a Ghost Town Day. A scenario which has prevailed in the two English-speaking regions of Cameroon for 3 years now. The atmosphere in Limbe could be calm on an ordinary day, but students and pupils have always opted to stay indoors on a day like this one due to the unstable atmosphere. It is not known when the kids would finally return to school without fear of gunshots or being brutalized. But some have not ceased to call on the government of Cameroon to seek lasting solutions to the Anglophone crisis so that activities can finally return to normalcy.
Because we are scared, we don't know from which angle there will be a gunshot. We move around in the streets seeing dead bodies lying up and down, and it looks like it's normal when actually it's not normal. We the children are actually very traumatized. We are scared and we are pleading on His Excellency Paul Biya to look into the matter and look for long-lasting solutions so that we the children can go back to school.
It's like we are living now in two different countries, the Anglophone area and we have another area where nothing is going on, no school, nothing. So
And it was another surprise move by the mayor of the Boya municipality, Mayor Patrick Ekema Esunga, who proceeded to seal the doors of shops that were closed on this Ghost Town Day in the Southwest Regional Headquarters of Boya. The mayor, who is not doing so for the first time, was accompanied by armed men in uniform. Details with Derek Jato from Boya.
It is another Monday, and it is another Ghost Town in Boya, the Southwest Regional Capital. These are the pictures of Bongo Square and Clark's Quarters, one of the commercial hubs of the City of Excellence, this 7th day of January 2019. But not everyone is indoors. The Boya Council is out, and Mayor Ekema Patrick Esunga, the mayor of Boya Council, is heading the special mission, and with them a truck for what is termed to clean up. And those who respected the ghost town, their business centers were immediately sealed by the Boya Council. Today, Monday, is the market day of Boya Town, and over here some traders can be spotted. Some stores too are open. The outing of Mayor Ekema Patrick Esunga will trigger some people to come out and open their stores. He says the ghost must be beaten this 2019.
That by January, end of January, the ghost will be beaten varies and completely eradicated from the Buya, the city of excellence. That is the spirit. And so next week Monday, we're going to increase our pressure on the accelerator and move forward by the last Monday of January. This time we have been very totally in. And we pray that it spreads across the board in the two regions which are most affected.
The situation of class quarters, Boyatan and Bukwango, witnessed some activities, though timid, but that was not the case. In neighborhoods like Moliko, Mile 16, and Munya, where all stores were closed, and the street empty.
And on to something else, farming activities are being threatened on a daily basis by climate change. How to fight the rising phenomenon was the purpose of a gathering which took place in the southwest regional headquarters of Boya. Once more, Derek Jato has the details.
The lone and inelastic Mother Earth is constantly under attack by us. We are busy destroying her forests, poisoning her waters, and polluting her atmosphere. And today, Mother Earth is fighting back, with the consequences now living with farmers. Forward, a forum for Christian women empowerment and development, in partnership with the Ministry of Women Empowerment and the Family, recently converged on Boya, the southwest regional capital of Cameroon, to think the way out, during which climate-smart agriculture was introduced. The goal is to act smart climate change. At the end of the seminar, the resource persons from the Ministry of Women Empowerment and the Family assured these rural women that the government is bent on bringing the expected change. It is now hope that what will be transformed into action soonest in this ongoing battle, that the climate change is winning.
We take you right to news out of Cameroon. As we announced earlier in this edition of the news, that the government of Gabon has said that the situation is now under control in the oil-producing country. It is after some soldiers attempted to overthrow sick President Ali Bongo Ondimba. Let's have the details of that report with Babila Jonathan.
Military officers in Gabon staged an apparent coup early Monday morning, seizing the state radio station. They declared their dissatisfaction with President Ali Bongo, who is recovering from a stroke in Morocco.
L'heure a sonné. Le jour tant attendu est arrivé. Ce jour où l'armée a décidé de se mettre aux côtés de son peuple afin de sauver le Gabon du chaos. Dans quelques heures, nous mettrons en place un Conseil national de la restauration après consultation de toutes les forces vives de la nation, afin d'assurer la continuité de l'État et garantir au peuple gabonais une transition démocratique. Fait à Libreville le 7 janvier 2019.
The leader of the self-declared patriotic movement of the Defense and Security Forces of Gabon, Lieutenant Kelly Ondo Obiang, termed a New Year address by President Ali Bongo from Morocco as a distressing spectacle.
Le spectacle désolant de ce discours de Nouvel An à la nation est une honte aux yeux du monde pour notre pays qui a perdu sa dignité.
The radio message was broadcast at about 4:30 a.m. local time, 5:30 a.m. Greenwich Mean Time. A source close to the government said there were gunshots around the national television, but that the plotters appeared to be a small group of soldiers. Not long after the incident, a government spokesperson said 4 of the 5 soldiers involved had been arrested. The other reportedly fled. Later, the Gabonese presidency said the leaders of the coup plotters had been arrested and 2 other members of the team that masterminded the attempt to overthrow President Ali Bongo had been killed.
Avant toute chose, permettez-moi de vous adresser à toutes et à tous
59-year-old Ali Bongo was hospitalized in October last year in Saudi Arabia after suffering a stroke. He has been in Morocco since November to continue treatment. In his New Year address to the nation, President Ali Bongo acknowledged health problems but said he was recovering. The Bongo family has ruled the oil-producing country for nearly half a century. Ali Bongo has been president since he succeeded his father, Omar Bongo, who died in 2009. Ali Bongo's re-election in 2016 was marred by claims of fraud and violent protests.
That brings us to the end of this first segment of the news. Time for us to meet our guest tonight. We shall be right back. And to briefly talk about what happened in Gabon today and what is happening in Cameroon today as well, we are being joined tonight by Senior Barrister at Law, Barrister Ashwagbo Emmanuel. Thank you so much, Barrister, for joining us tonight.
Good evening, Mimi. Good evening, televiewers.
How, Barrister, would you interpret this move by some soldiers in Gabon who try to take over control in the absence of Ali Bongo Ondimba?
Well, from what I saw, from all the reports I got, it looks like it's a handful of ill-prepared, misadventurous young men who thought that by wheeling around a few armored cars and Kalashnikovs, they can bring the country to its knees. So after taking control of the national radio, they attempted to go to the presidency where they met stiff resistance, and that was just at the end of their adventure. So I think, well, they were not prepared, they were not serious, they did not have the consent, the support of the army. That's why the whole thing flopped.
Tell us how it would have been for the people of Gabon if it had succeeded.
In fact, had this attempted coup been successful, it would have been catastrophic not only for Gabon but for the whole of Central African sub-region. Because we remember a few days ago, the United States sent combat-ready forces to Gabon to await the situation in DRC, where they intend to evacuate American citizens should need be. Now, if this coup d'etat would have succeeded, people would have said, many would have been tempted to think that it is the American government that has overthrown the Gabonese government to take control of the Central African sub-region, which apparently is not the case.
You seem to sound like it's probably not the best way to get rid of a regime that has been there for a very long time now. We saw how it was successful in neighboring Zimbabwe, but it unfortunately was not the situation in Gabon today. It was successful in neighboring Central African Republic. You seem to give the impression that that is possibly not the way out of have a transitional government in a country where the leader is rejected by the people, by certain group of persons or individuals.
You are very right, Mimi. You see, the situation in Zimbabwe was quite different because Mr. Mnangagwa himself was a former soldier, was a career soldier. He had the support of the army, and many soldiers in Zimbabwe did not like Mr. Mugabe. So when the problem arose between Mrs. Mugabe and Mr. Mnangagwa, and the latter was forced to flee the country, the military sided with Mnangagwa. That is why when he went to South Africa and had some support and came back, it was very obvious that the army could support him and put him in place as against Mr. Mugabe. But in Gabon, if you look at the people who went to the radio house,
even the opposition say they don't have a hand in what
happened. What happened in Gabon?
The opposition stronghold that we know, Jean Ping has said that.
What happened in Gabon? This was the job of some small misadventurous young men who.
So no lesson at all. No lesson to be drawn at all, Barrister.
No, I think
it's inconsequential according to you.
No, I don't think it has any consequence because these young men apparently did not have the support of politicians. They didn't have the support of the army. And nobody, even the youths who wanted to take to the streets, we saw only a handful of youths. So there was no way this people could have succeeded, because when I listened to their speech, they were calling on the population and the other soldiers to take control of the transport services. If you're organizing a coup d'etat, you should have the means to take control of all the services yourself. You will not call on other people who are not with you to go take control of services.
Now, Barrister, before we go, we come back to Cameroon. We return to Cameroon to talk about the appointments in some ministerial departments. We saw the installation ceremony taking place today. What would be your reaction as far as the recent partial cabinet reshuffle is concerned? We see new prime minister, head of government being put in place by the president of the republic. What is your interpretation? What is your take as far as that is concerned?
Well, I firmly think that Mr. Biya is playing the old fox by this reshufflement, because when you look at the profile of the people he has put in key positions that concern investigation, you have the minister delegate in charge of state control, who is a judge. You have the minister of justice, who is a judge. You have the minister delegate in charge of justice, who is a lawyer, a senior lawyer. Then you have the prime minister, who is a professor at law. So look at those four. If they have to carry out investigation concerning the AFCON misappropriations,
the scandal, of course.
you think any person can get out of it? No. I'm very sure Mr. Biya wants this matter to be thoroughly investigated before.
But the majority of those whose names were cited as having a hand in the misappropriation, like you've indicated, are still in the government.
They are in government, but only 2 of them have maintained their positions. The rest have been shifted to different positions where I think they have to be investigated, because if they were still on their seats, their previous seats, it would be difficult for them to be investigated. They've been shifted aside, new persons brought there, so that all the things that are under should be exposed.
And the new head of government, we have Joseph Diongute, that is replacing Philemon Yang. We saw La Nouvelle Expression of today indicating that they were expecting, or that many were expecting, Elung Chepol. Tell us about the choice of Diongute as Prime Minister, head of government in Cameroon. Were you taken by surprise?
I wasn't surprised at all, because Mr. Ngute has been in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs for a long time, where he has been in charge of Commonwealth. He has been Director General of ENAM, and he was taken 9 months ago from the Commonwealth seat and sent to the presidency, where I believe he was being groomed for the post of Prime Minister. Because since President Ahijo groomed Mr. Biya for Prime Minister, we've not seen any grooming of any Prime Minister. This is the first time we are seeing Mr. Biya prepare somebody. He did not prepare Elung Paul, but he prepared Diongute. I was surprised.
So it's a square peg in a square hole.
Yes, I think it's a square peg.
What impact his appointment could possibly have on the Anglophone crisis? The crisis that has been going on for 3 years now.
Well, the impact is that, first of all, this is a seasoned diplomat. It's a seasoned diplomat. This is a man who doesn't have skeletons. It's a person who has an image that is better than the one of that of the outgoing Prime Minister, whom many people said was not very receptive. So, well,
you're positive that he'll be productive?
He will be better than the other man. He will be better. Not, well, you see, the man with the knife and the yam is the President of the Republic. He shouldn't count on the Prime Minister alone. He himself should make things move. But this Prime Minister has a better profile to solve this crisis than the previous.
We're hoping so. Thank you so much, Barrister, for joining us tonight on Talking Point. We hope to have you some other time again.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for your time. To our viewers, it was equally a pleasure having you with us in this edition of the 6 p.m. primetime newscast on Equinoxe Television. Wishing you a blessed stay in the company of our programs until we meet again. Goodbye.